Greetings, fellow dungeon delvers, and welcome to DORAN'S and Dragons, where we work together to come up with Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition builds for your favorite League of Legends champions. Today we're building Sett, the boss. Sett is the John Brawlin half-beast boss of the Ionia criminal underworld. Born of a Vestaia and a Noxian, Sett experienced a miserable childhood as both groups viewed their union as taboo and unseemly. Sett's father was a local pit fighter whose reputation provided an aegis for the family, until he disappeared one day. His father had abandoned them to find fame and fortune in a larger arena. Sett had an axe to grind, and he settled for dominating the local ring until his father returned. Sett won over and over, but that wasn't enough for the Beast Boy bastard. He challenged the pit organizers and told them he was in charge. They disagreed, and Sett changed their mind, violently. Now Sett runs the pits the same way he rose to the top, with an iron fist. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. We'd like to thank one of this month's DORAN'S Blade patrons, Mad Monk. Thank you so much for your support, it means a lot to us. Mad Monk chose Sett to build as part of the rewards for our Blade tier patrons. Speaking of Blade tier rewards, this month's homebrew is Ascent to the Radiant Summit, based on Mount Targon. We released last month's homebrew, Into the Frozen Tundra, on the DM's Guild if you're interested in seeing that content. Come join us on Patreon for some awesome rewards, including that monthly homebrew content. Alright, now let's get into it. First, let's cover the goals of this build. We need to get our hands dirty and our knuckles bloody. Sett also needs to take them off the top ropes, or at least do a showstopper out of nowhere. And Sett needs to be able to take a beating in the ring, so tankiness is a must. For race, we're going to go with Shifter as the equivalent of Vestaians, specifically of the Beasthide variety. Shifters, as the name suggests, have the shifting feature, which lets them use a bonus action to take on a more bestial appearance for a minute once per rest. This grants you a bunch of temporary hit points along with something extra based on your subrace. Beasthide just increases those temporary hit points by an additional d6, and your AC increases by 1. Beasthide shifters also gain +2 to Constitution and +1 to Strength, as well as proficiency in Athletics. For background, we were torn between Criminal and Gladiator. Of the two, Gladiator fits better, and even though Riot described him as a crime boss, he really just runs a fighting ring. Gladiators have proficiency in Acrobatics and Performance. They also have the Buy Popular Demand feature. Basically, as long as you're willing to entertain the crowd of an establishment, they'll provide food and lodging. You'll also be generally liked by the townspeople. For stats, your DM may want you to roll, but then you challenge them to an arm wrestling competition, break their arm, tell them to roll with that, then use the standard array. If violence isn't your thing IRL, then go ahead and roll, but keep at least a 13 in strength for multiclassing minimums. If you can't tell yet by how over macho we're being, we're going to be kicking things off with strength. You need to be able to pick up your enemies and move them with impunity, and pummel them when they talk back. We'll pick up Constitution after that. Spending all your time in the ring toughens a guy up. Dexterity is next. Just like our Constitution, this is a byproduct of spending years fighting and having to outlast your enemies. Charisma comes at our 12 score for sheer intimidation factors alone. After that, we'll take Wisdom. Sett has an iron will, but the previous stuff is just much more important to his identity. And finally, we'll dump Intelligence, which whoever designed him at Riot clearly did before making him. For equipment, Sett really only uses a pair of brass knuckles. Those don't exist in game, so to compensate, we'll simply pick up a club and reflavor it. Alrighty, let's kick this off with a level in Fighter. Fighters have a d10 hit die and proficiencies with all armors, shields, and weapons. We'll also pick up skill proficiencies with Intimidation and Perception. For our fighting style, since we're only using a single-handed weapon, we can take advantage of dueling, which gives us a +2 damage done with that weapon. Our final level 1 feature is Second Win, which will work as part of Sett's passive, Pit Grit. Once per rest as a bonus action, you can regain 1d10 plus your fighter level and hit points. Insert standard use before you short rest to save hit die disclaimer here. Oh crikey, it's the quick second level multi-class! Sorry, we don't do this too often, but Sett's fairly vulnerable right now with the lack of armor, so we're going to need to cover that base quickly. With some levels in Barbarian. Barbarians have a yummy d12 hit die, but give us no new proficiencies. They give us the Rage feature, which we can enter as a bonus action. Once raging, we have the following awesome benefits. advantage on strength checks, grappling, and strength saving throws, scaling bonus damage on our strength-based attacks, and finally resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. It lasts for a minute, or until you forget to give someone a whack, or get whacked. The final level 1 Barbarian feature is Unarmored Defense. This makes your AC 10 plus your Dex mod plus your Con mod whenever you aren't wearing armor, which, spoiler alert, we're not. Second level Barbarians get Reckless Attack. On the first attack of each turn, you can grant yourself advantage on all attacks that turn, but you give your enemies advantage against you until the start of your next turn. We also pick up Danger Sense here, which gives you advantage on dex saves against effects you can see. Level 3 Barbs choose their primal path. We're going to embrace our inner Vestian with the Path of the Zealot. Warrior of the Gods removes the need for material components for any spell attempting to restore you to life. More importantly though, Divine Fury will give us our Q Knuckle Down. Whenever you rage, the first creature you hit on each turn takes 1d6 plus half your barbarian level in radiant damage. Alright, that's enough anger for me. Let's head back to second level fighter for Action Surge. This will let Sett push himself past his normal limits once per rest to gain an additional action. Level 3 fighters choose their martial archetype to focus in on. We're going to go the route of battlefield control with Battlemaster. Battlemasters gain a pool of scaling combat superiority die that enable the best part about this class, the Battlemaster maneuvers. We're going to go over all the ones we'll use here. Lunging attack and sweeping attack are going to be used to recreate our W, Haymaker. Lunging attack extends your range by 5 feet and adds whatever you roll on your superiority die as bonus damage. Sweeping attack uses your attack roll on one creature to attempt to hit another target within 5 feet of it. If the attack would have hit that target as well, it takes damage equal to whatever you roll on your superiority die. Finally, we'll get part of our E, Facebreaker, with Trip Attack. This forces a strength save on the creature you hit, that knocks it prone if it fails. 4th level fighters get an ability score improvement. We're going to pick up a feat here, but I actually have 2 options for you. I know some people get upset with the use of Unearthed Arcana here, and if that's you, then take Tavern Brawler for the +1 to strength and bonus action grapple. But if UA doesn't make your shorts bunch up, then take the Crusher feat. This also bumps our strength by 1, but also lets us move a creature we hit with bludgeoning damage up to 5 feet once per turn. This will really give us our E and let us smack 2 enemies together. And if you apply Trip Attack to both attacks, they'll be knocked prone as well. Also, if you crit with a bludgeoning damage strike, all attack rolls made against that creature have advantage until the end of your next turn. Level 5 fighters pick up extra attack. Now we can hit fools with our Knuckle Dusters twice instead of once. 6th level fighters get another ability score improvement. Get used to these, we have 4 more coming. We're going to take the last feat of the build, Grappler. This gives us advantage on any attacks we make on a creature we have grappled, and we can double down on our grapples to pin the target, making you and that target restrained until the grapple ends. This is going to be our ultimate showstopper. Remember that with extra attack, we can attack once, then grapple. So we'll do that, then use our movement to drag the body a few feet, or drag it flailing through the air, then action surge and pin it using our grappler action. Level 7 Battlemasters get Know Your Enemy, which is really just Sett's experience in picking up on his enemy's quirks. If you spend at least a minute observing a creature outside of combat, you learn 2 pieces of info determined by your DM. I'm not going to list the possibilities out, but suffice it to say, you get a good read on whether you could take them or not. 8th level fighters get another ability score improvement. From here on out, we're going fully into stats, trying to max our strength and constitution. We're going to use this level to round off odd modifiers first though, taking a point in strength and dexterity. Level 9 fighters pick up Indomitable. This allows you to reroll any failed saving throw once per long rest. You do have to use this reroll no matter what though, so keep that in mind. 10th level Battlemasters scale their combat superiority die to D10s instead of D8s. Remember that at this point you have 5 of these. Level 11 fighters get an extra attack improvement. Now we can wiggity whack fools 3 times instead of twice per attack action. 12th level fighters get another ability score improvement. Like we said before, we're going full stats here, so we'll max our strength out with 2 more points. Level 13 fighters gain a second usage of Indomitable per long rest. This is that saving throw assistance we got back at 9th level. 14th level fighters get the penultimate ability score improvement for this build. Now that our strength is maxed, we can invest fully into Constitution with 2 more points. Level 15 Battlemasters get Relentless. Now we have 6 combat superiority die, and if we enter combat without any, we regain 1 instantly. 16th level fighters unlock the final ability score improvement of the build. We're going to max our Constitution with 2 more points. Level 17 fighters get quite a bit here, with an additional usage of Action Surge per arrest and a 3rd charge of Indomitable. We'll be able to stop the show twice per rest now. Alright, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. I hope your DM has a mop, because they're going to need it to wipe up the remains of what you do to their monsters. We also got to max out 2 stats, which is always nice when we're working with the standard array. Also, Sett is a thick boy, 227 hit points and a 17 AC, 18 when shifted. Now the bad. This is yet another melee only build. Anyone at range is going to give you a hard time. You also have no utility other than some crowd control. Finally, we didn't exactly get his W, but we feel like it's close enough. If you want to sacrifice some stats, you can sacrifice an ASI and pick up Magic Initiate Sorcerer for Burning Hands. So, what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as Amazon links to the books used in the build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, including access to our Discord community and monthly homebrew releases. We plan on churning out 1 League Champion build every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.